America! Welcome back to ThrowBLKs. J5 in the building. Josh Pease. What's going on, brother?
We here, man. That's funny. He should have started off saying white America. Why he didn't say that?
MC in the building also. Of course, you guys are listening to ThrowBLKs. This is a show where we look back at some of the hip hops and I mean any type of genres, albums, most classic releases, and we talk about the history. We talk about how we feel about it in 2024 and beyond. Of course, as you already know, this month's episode, we're going to be talking about Eminem's The Eminem Show, and I want to do this a little bit differently because number one, this album's long as shit, and I think we like when we did Speaker Box Love Below, I was like, woo, we almost hit 2 hours. I'm like, bro, we're not even at the fucking Love Below yet. But for one, the album's long as shit, but I really want to talk more like candidly about Eminem's place in our lives as like 3 black males talking about an Eminem album, but also like not being like, I don't think any of us are necessarily saying Eminem was like the worst rapper ever, but I don't think that he would be like in our top 3s, right? Like, is it wild for me to say that? Cause like,
you know, it's funny, man. Listening to this album, I'm like, I get it. I get the Eminem thing. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's funny because when I was younger, I listened to him. But then as I like graduated to high school, I'm just like, this shit is not it.
Right.
And I mean, obviously it's just because of where his music started to take the turn. But I just didn't even appreciate the older stuff. So like going back and listening to this album, I'm like, oh, like he's a technically great rapper.
Right.
He is technically one of the best rappers. I think just the content just doesn't do it for me, which makes him fall out of like my top 10.
Top 10?
He's not in my top 10 at all. Absolutely not.
Well, we'll get to that. I
don't think he was in my top 10 in middle school, even though. But
because I mean, again, and here and before like we get like super into it, what was y'all's first white rapper? Like the first white rapper y'all can remember ever listening to in your lives? What was your first white rapper? Mark, it might have been Eminem for you, but it definitely wasn't the first white rapper for me. It wasn't Eminem.
I'm trying to think. Does Fred Durst count?
Yeah,
no.
I mean, yeah.
I don't think
Was that? Well, I wasn't listening
He's a rapper. Like Fred Durst, in some ways, could be an MC, but he's not an MC. Not to me, at least.
I think it would be Eminem then. At least from what I've seen in elementary school and middle school, the way that it took over a lot of our white friends. At least to me, that was like literally a god moment to the white friends that I had back in Stratford.
My first white rapper was Snow, Informer.
Informer. Yeah,
you didn't really like Informer though, did you?
Informer was kind of a big deal back in the day. I thought
he was Jamaican. Was he white Jamaican?
Was he? That nigga white. Hold on. Snow.
You know it's white Jamaicans for sure.
Yeah, there's white Jamaicans. There's white Jamaicans. That blew my mind going to Jamaica back in the day. I was like, why are you here?
He's Canadian.
Damn. I mean, they want to be white Jamaicans. The black ones even.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of are. Like, when the Canadians do the Jamaican thing, I'm like, y'all crazy. Like, y'all not even Caribbean, but y'all just do the Jamaican accents.
That's their culture.
It's mad Jamaicans out there, though.
The culture when you're not Caribbean.
There's mad West Indians. There's mad West Indians out there.
Yeah.
To have an event as big as Caravana, I don't think that's just white people being like, yeah, let's throw a West Indian festival.
I just don't know how that's your culture when you're not actually Caribbean. Is that possible? Maybe it is.
Well,
I guess because I'm not Hispanic, but I guess Mexican Chicano culture is a part of my culture. I guess.
I mean, it permeates. I think if there's like a certain percentage of people out there, I feel like California, we like 55%. Would you say, or at least half and half, Mexican American or Latino to white, black, all of that stuff. Like I would say it permeates. I don't know the breakdown in Canada, but like I would imagine like to Mark's point, like if they had Caravana and people from the West Indies and Jamaica had an issue with it, they would definitely assess some shit, but don't nobody say nothing about it.
The Caribbean, it's just the way they talk sometimes. Just a little, like, I'm like, come on, man. Like, come on.
But it was Snow, and I'm not gonna lie, Marky Mark, bro, and the Funky Bunch.
Oh yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
That's showing your age. That nigga said Marky Mark.
Come on, Marky Mark, Vanilla Ice. These were white rappers back in the day, but it was like these are white rappers that like other than Vanilla Ice, some of them never really broke through in the same way Vanilla Ice did. And when Vanilla Ice got found out and then he got pressed, there was a drought. And there wasn't really no white rappers out. There wasn't really nothing happening. We had like MC Search and all them other niggas, but they wasn't really like making moves like Eminem did. So when Eminem hits, this is like TRL era. Like, my name is, when he's dressing up as Marilyn Manson, it's like at that point we hadn't seen nothing like that, especially with Dr. Dre, who was himself just leaving Death Row, just trying to kind of find himself. That was a big moment, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's funny when I remember when like Eminem hit, and it was like it didn't even feel. He was a white rapper, and it definitely was like shocking to see a white rapper, but it like he felt so much a part of culture that it was like you just had no reason but to root for him. Like, I think a lot of white rappers before him felt a little bit outsiderish, even if they were, like, not MC Search. I feel like they were part of the culture, but Beastie Boys, MC Search, like those groups were very much a part of hip hop. So even though they're white, they still felt like us.
Yeah.
But then you have Vanilla Ice, and you had Marky Mark, and like some of these people who felt like you were looking at them rather than they were with you.
Right.
Eminem kind of had that feeling where it's like, oh, that's one of us, and that shit was polarizing. Like, just the look, bleach blonde hair, like white tee, like just the fuck you attitude. It was oh shit.
I remember hearing about his name for the first time, and I was like the candy, like back in the day, it was literally like, how is this spelled? Obviously this is like a homonym for his initials, but it was like, that is actually, and that also goes to some of his genius too, is that like a lot of his career is like him making fun of things that are in plain sight. And I think he talks, a lot about it on this album too. And I think in Eminem Show, which we're going to talk about a little later, he's very much pointing the mirror at himself and like pointing at himself and saying like, these are the things that are wrong. But it was kind of crazy to see someone that was not only candid, but also such a shock value artist. I think something that Eminem did was he woke people up to, like, it felt like NWA again in 1999 when he was out, and there was so many people. Have you ever remember the MTV special report when Slim Shady LP came out, and there was people dumping his CDs on the parking lot ground in front of Tower Records out here, and they were like burning, they were stomping it.
The bulldozer or the steamroller, whatever that was. It's crazy. The thing about Eminem, he perfectly coincided with the Attitude Era of WWF.
Yeah. And
like he personified what Steve Austin was in wrestling. Yeah. So like it was the perfect storm for like teen angst and being like, fuck you. And like, it was just like like DX, and just, it was all the perfect time to be on that. And he took advantage of it perfectly, man. Like he was like the rapper you listen to rebel and like hear curse words and crash shit. They're like, where other rappers kind of cursed and did all that stuff, but it still came across like not as rebellious. Yeah. His shit was pure rebellion.
Yeah, and it was the good and bad of what America was at the time. The good of just like, the Steve Austin middle finger flipping, smacking the shit out of your boss, but then also the bad of like 1999 of like the Columbine shootings. And they tried to put that on to somebody like Eminem, somebody like Marilyn Manson, and that ended up being one of the things that upset him the most.
Yeah, I mean, it was that. It was, scandal politics-wise. It was Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky stuff. He talks about that a lot in those first two albums. There's like deaths that happened at that time, Versace's death, all types of stuff that was going on that he talks about, he references and stuff like that. Like that was just permeating in the 90s, like OJ, all like the 90s was a lit ass decade. When you like look back at it, all of the shit that he talks about on these albums are like deep cut references, and they almost feel like a time capsule. And in some ways they feel like a time capsule here is the early 2000s. He talks about Bush and stuff like that, which we'll talk about in the album as well. But Slim Shady LP went to another level where it's like, okay, he is playing a character. And I think that was something that he was trying to get across on interviews at that time as well, was I'm playing a character. Slim Shady is kind of the alternate me. And one thing that Josh, actually, you brought up a while ago on the show was the CD, the actual CD of Slim Shady LP. It was a Vicodin pill. Yeah. And that was, again, goes to what you guys were both saying. We hadn't really heard about pill popping and shit like that. It was weed, and it was like, that was it. Like, niggas was not really, 3 6 Mafia was talking about sniffing and shit like that, but no one was really talking about it. Like, but that was underground still. Like, Eminem was mainstream talking about popping pills and stuff like that. Like, that wasn't heard of at that time.
I'm surprised they haven't put the opioid addiction and just that era on him, because like he was the very first, and like when you look at it, that's just big in the Midwest and Detroit, Kentucky. Like that ain't really like. I mean, it is to some degree a coastal drug because now it's just so big. But opioids was really big in the middle of America, and like that was his stronghold, his stomping grounds.
Oh yeah, Middle America. I mean, not only that, but it was like Middle America, and it kind of like crossed over into like. I looked at. Is it weird for me to say like I looked at a lot of Eminem fans as like people who like were kind of lower income people too that were like kind of eating this up?
I mean,
like,
yeah, I always when I think of the Eminem fan, I think of a trailer park and a dirty wife beater. I don't know why. Like I just anytime I think about him, I think about trailer parks because it's like even the idea of trailer parks, like
yeah,
I didn't really know what a trailer park was until Eminem came out. I'm like, oh, this is real? People live in these motherfuckers? Like, for me being on the West Coast, I had never seen a trailer park. I always seen them on wheels.
Yeah.
Yo, okay,
The only trailer park I ever seen in my life for real was like in Malibu, and I was like, I saw that in high school. So just thinking about when Eminem came out, I'm like, huh? Like, people live there, and like that's like their upbringing. So it was just. He definitely personified broke whites, poor
but
whites.
It was also it go back to WWE too. Like I heard trailer park trash from Steve Austin and Eminem. Those are the two people I heard trailer park trash from. Like I was like, white people got their own version of nigga too. It's trailer park trash. Like that's what it is.
But it's ironic. It's ironic. There's a lot of money. There was a lot of money in there. He made plenty of bread off the trailer parks
for sure.
Oh yeah. It's funny when I think about Eminem, trailer parks, and all that stuff. You know what else I think about in the wrestling world is Billy Kidman.
Yeah, he looked like Eminem.
So it's just funny, like that correlation is always in my mind. But yeah, man, poor whites, trailer parks.
Whites, but they came out in droves. Slim Shady LP released in February 1999, and it went on to go 5 times platinum, which, if you can believe it, is the lowest, kind of like one of the lowest selling albums he's ever done. Is his first album to this day. And a year later, he followed back up in that May with the Marshall Mathers LP, which this album was getting banned. It was getting fucking literally. You couldn't make it past the first song without people saying, "All right, cut that shit off." the first song was getting people in trouble. Like it was like, for one, the Marshall Mathers LP was significant for so many things. It was the Napster era, for sure. It was the most pirated album of all time, like bar none. Everybody had their version of Marshall Mathers LP of Kazaa or Napster because your parents was not letting you buy that shit. So that's how I listened to it the first time. But it was also like, it was just mean. It was a really mean and dark ass album when you go back and listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, and I wouldn't say this is when I got turned off from Eminem, but this is when I was kind of like starting to realize, this ain't really for me all the way. Like,
really?
Because it was just like all the like talk about his ex and his mom and like just the way he talked about it, and just like it was so crass, and like even as a kid, I just knew that I was like, that's not the way I like talk and act and want to like the shit I want to kind of take in.
Yeah. So
it was already kind of like turning the corner for me. It was definitely an album that like I cared about, and it's probably like his classic for sure. Like his undisputed classic album is that album, but I definitely kind of saw myself as a fan being like, all right, like kind of over the shock value, honestly.
Yeah.
Have you felt similar to the kids that are on TikTok right now that were born in like 2006, 2007, hearing "Kill You" for the first time, and they're just ready to completely turn it off? Like, was that you in the year 2000?
No, that wasn't me then, but it was also like, this ain't something I'm just going to listen. I knew back then this ain't something I'm going to listen to forever. It's not something I can listen to in any type of setting in front of my parents. Right. Like, it's just like when 50 Cent Get Rich or Die Trying came out, me and my dad listened to the album together.
Right.
I would never listen to an Eminem album with my parents at any point in my life.
But what's crazy about Marshall Mathers LP, some of Dr. Dre's best beats ever emanate from this fucking album. He went crazy. He did "Kill You." He did it, which I thought for a long time, I didn't correlate. I thought Eminem did real Slim Shady. Dr. Dre did a real Slim Shady, bro. Like that's the range. Like I didn't know that. I thought it was Eminem at the time, because I got it confused, because Eminem did "The Way I Am," which to me is still his best beat of all time. and I got those two mixed up. But it was like some of the best beats that Dre's ever done. I mean, some of Eminem's best rapping, undisputedly, regardless of like the content matter and the subject matter, but also one of his most controversial albums ever. I mean, Kim, you can't listen to Kim. 2024, I'm not listening to Kim. We're not going back and listen to that fucking shit.
Why not?
I mean, who? I don't. Which setting do you listen to that in?
Yeah,
it's gotta be doors closed. It's gonna be doors closed in the house. Nah. Headphones on. It could be headphones on. Why not?
Nah, I can't. Like Kim is too like you in the mind of like a school shooter on Kim. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You're in the mind of like a nigga that's just really not all there with Kim. I think like there's some songs that it's just there that I just take from that and I'm like, okay, this is crazy. But like the first run of this is like you start off with Kill You, which Kill You on most people's versions of the CD doesn't even have the words KILL on it. It's literally blanked out you. It's bleep you. Stan is the third song on this album. He starts off the album with a 7-minute song that is like a movie. Like Stan is one of the best songs he's ever made, but it's also one of them like just in terms of concept, in terms of all of that stuff. Like that was the lasting memory of this album is that song. He goes on to the Grammys, performs with Elton John, who comes out. Elton John's like, "Yo, what's wrong with y'all? This is literally just entertainment." And that's that ends up being one of his biggest moments in 2000, 2001.
Yeah, no, Stan is like definitely top 5 hip hop songs ever, and probably one of the best songs, top 10 of any type of song ever. Like it's the concept of it, the beat, the sample. It was just one of those songs that was like, even the video, I remember all that shit. I was just like, man, this is one of them ones. Like that's one of them songs that you can't deny and you always kind of go back to. Like even to this day, like look how much that word is a part of our culture. Like was Stan a thing back then? Like before Eminem, like I call somebody a Stan every other day. Like so yeah, I that's one reason why he is cemented a legend. Like I couldn't imagine who produced Stan. Did
he did.
Oh, he did, yeah. I can't imagine Dre's face when they first heard that. Like,
yeah,
that's just one of them records you just like, oh shit, like, nigga, this is one. Like, it's crazy.
But it's like you start to see then that like there is a lot more to him, some songwriting wise, and you know this is someone who did the Rap Olympics back in the day, and this is someone who did all ciphers. He was a battle rapper at one point. All of this stuff, like all of that stuff, congealed into a story, and he was telling a story there. And I think to me that's one of Eminem's strongest. One of his strongest points is telling stories. Like, obviously, he can be funny. There's some funny things on this album. Some of the funny stuff didn't age very well. I do remember like thinking that the King Kniff skits were hilarious back in the day. I'm sorry.
They were, yeah. You know, it's funny. Like that's another thing. So they were funny till they weren't funny.
Right.
You know, it's like there's like a joke you first hear, you laugh, but then like you got a friend who burns it out. Yeah. I had a friend like that. Like I like my vivid memory. I just tell me stuff on like, and my vivid memory of Eminem. He was just a big Eminem fan. He was a black kid, Jamaican, long fucking hair, and he loved Eminem. And he killed the King Kniff shit for me. And like, but whenever I think of Eminem, I think of him because like when Eminem Show came out, he was the first person I listened to it with, and like, but I'm like, man, like you are the person who would listen to this. He was like a little immature kid who liked little. Inappropriate jokes and shit, and it's just like I just can't deal with it now.
Imagine being in a booth, and we've been in like studios of rappers. Imagine being in a booth and a nigga is mimicking what King Kniff was doing in there, especially on this skit. That shit is crazy.
But that's my thing too. It's like with him, that was just the time. So it was like I can't like. Being grown in that time, like imagine being grown when Steve Austin was coming out. We'll probably be fucking all in jail doing dumb shit. Like I just think about like when you were that age, when that was happening. If I was of age, what would I have been doing in the streets? Would I have been flicking people off, giving people to fucking suck it? Like probably. And I feel like that was the correlation with what Eminem was doing. Like that shit was going on, and he's in the booth doing that, and everyone around him was like, "Oh, like we just watched Raw, and now this is happening." Like it all makes sense. Now it don't really make sense.
One thing about the Eminem persona at that time was his beef with several pop stars like Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Christina Aguilera. What do we take from that 20 years later.
You know what I'll take from that? I loved it because it was like, it was our beef. It was like, yo, Eminem, you beefing with these pop stars because they taking up the market share of what hip hop is, and they taking the space of hip hop, but then they also like are starting to kind of lean into hip hop. Like that was when you start to see the pop stars dressing a little baggier and using some slang in their music. So it was like Eminem was kind of like our Trojan horse to fight them.
Yeah, because niggas couldn't say that. Like niggas couldn't say that. Like Jay-Z couldn't say that. He couldn't say like, man, fuck Christina Aguilera. They'd never let his black ass on TRL again.
On TRL, exactly.
But Eminem said it, and like, and this is like a credit that no one really wants to give him many times. Is that like, I think that he did open up, and he talks about this, and we'll talk about this on the first song on the Eminem Show. Is that like he opened the door for better or for worse for people to get in. But I don't think that he wanted all the attention to be on him. And I think that's what the issue ended up being, is that like, fuck all of y'all, because he's saying, I want all my, MCs to say this shit too. But they like, nigga, we can't. Nelly's like, I can't say that shit. You know what I'm saying? Nelly's like, I can't do that. Like, only you could do that. But thanks for letting the door open. You know what I'm saying? So like, at a lot of times, and I remember at the VMAs at that year, all of them were going to be there. Remember, that was a big thing. He was going to perform Real Slim Shady. And he did the classic performance where they were all outside of radio music, City Hall radio. Yeah. And Christina Aguilera was there. She was like, yeah, that's when they squashed the beef. And all of the pop stars were just sitting down. They wasn't trying to fuck with it. And I was like, it's so crazy how beef was back then. He was literally not beefing with no rappers. It was just fucking pop stars.
NSYNC and Backstreet Boys.
Out of his mind.
Mark McGrath. Oh, Mark McGrath. Damn, I just thought about white rappers. Does Mark McGrath count as a white rapper?
From Sugar Ray?
Hell yeah.
What was he rapping? What was he rapping?
Yeah.
Someday.
No.
When my
That's
life.
not a rap.
That's not a rap.
Oh, Mark, you scared me, man. You listened to a lot of little alternative music back in the day.
You were not a TRL kid back then?
I mean, I watched TRL. I was a Rap City kid, first of all.
You okay?
But, yeah, I watched TRL, but that was never like my jam.
The block used to be, and it had to be weird for you on the West Coast because it was 3 for us, but it was 12 for you. How was that working?
No, it's not 3. They just used to start later.
It just aired later because the block would be TRL 3. It would be Rap City
at 5.
4.
Oh, 4.
Yeah, TRL. Yeah, it'd be Rap City 4 or whatever happened in between 4 or 5. I think sometimes TRL would be an hour, sometimes it'd be 2, and then it'd be 106 at 6.
Yep.
And then
that
was your
ends
whole
at 7:30.
But that was your whole night. Like that was, and then the thing that was crazy about this as well, Eminem was a part of all of those shows. Every single one of those shows. He was on every single one of the pop show, the rap show, the rapidy rap show. He was on it. And I think that we don't see artists that are subversive like that anymore. And I think 2000 was the first time that you kind of saw that he fit into every kind of genre, because he would come up with the pop hit, then he'd come out with the rap song. That's the Eminem formula. Because what did he do for Marshall Mathers? He did Real Slim Shady for y'all, and then he said, "I'm gonna do Way I Am for everybody else," and I'll do and it worked.
No, it is still working to this day. I mean, I even look at the new album he's about to put out. He put out the Houdini record, which is the pop record, and he followed up with the new record. Yeah, Toby with Baby Tron and Big Sean, and I'm like, I'm rocking with this. It's just pretty decent. So, shout out to him for knowing his way, knowing his audience, knowing how to get us excited about him again. But yeah, you hit up a good point. Like, Eminem is one of them rappers who the purists love and the casual fan loves.
Right.
Like, that's why he's probably, like, bar none, probably the biggest rapper ever, just off the strength of that. Like, I look at, I worked at Amazon Music for a bit. I'm at Spotify now. He's at top of the charts at both. And it's like, it's hard to take that away from him. And, I think we'll never have another artist like that.
No.
White or black. I think the closest we had to it was Mac Miller. And yeah, I don't see anyone getting, maybe Travis Scott. I feel like the casual knows him, but the purists don't like him. Never mind.
Yeah, it's hard because the purists don't think he got bars. And,
I mean, you don't. And what they're thinking. We know he ain't got bars.
Marshall Mathers. Marshall Mathers, OP. Insane amount of numbers. He does 1 million in the first week. Unheard of in this day and age. Very normal back then. 1 million in the first.
Unless you're Taylor Swift.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the one person that can do that shit.
Yeah,
like,
that's
that's
the sole person that can do it.
But Marshall Mathers LP 11 times platinum. 11. Insane.
One of those
I want to go to 2002 before we get to Eminem Show, and I want to talk about some albums that came out that year because I did not remember that all these albums came out this year, and it's crazy how stacked that year was for Eminem Show to be like the most anticipated. So you had Nas, who released 2 albums in 2002, The Lost Tapes and Godson. You have Jay-Z's Blueprint 2 that came out later that year. You had Scarface The Fix, which got 5 mics in the source. You had Cameron, Come Home With Me. You had Talib Kweli, Quality. You had Nellyville, which I think is Diamond as well. You had Snoop Dogg, Paid the Cost, which was a big album, for its time as well. And that's just a couple of the albums that I named. 2002 might be the greatest year for rap albums, or one of the greatest years for rap albums.
No, it's definitely one of the greatest years in my generation. I remember that year. I remember that vividly. Blueprint 2, Godson, Lost Tapes. Like, those are albums I was like, oh shit. Like, even Nellyville. Like, Nellyville when that dropped, oh my God. Like, that was crazy. So, 2002 was one of a big year. Also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's the year GameCube came out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just a big year, man. Like, I remember my life. I'm like, oh shit, this is lit.
Like, well, actually, no. GameCube came out November 2001, but the game started hitting in 2002 because everything was out at that point. I think that they came out, I want to say, a year after PS2 and Xbox, so it came out a little bit later than those, but it ended up coming out then. But we have the Eminem Show. And with his second album being a Grammy Award winning and career defining album, Eminem was kind of in a dilemma at this point, and he decided that there wasn't any more drama. He was like, there was no more that I could do. There's no more people to piss off because he felt as though people were getting numb to it. They were like, there's no more. Like, they've seen it all. They've tried to ban my CDs. I'm still popular. They tried to ban me from shows. I still do tours and all that stuff. So for the Eminem Show, he decided to take a cut out of his own life. He took inspiration from Jim Carrey's The Truman Show, which he said that he felt as though his life was basically a real life version of The Truman Show, in which everything he did was under a microscope at all times. And, he wrote this album as he was writing 8 Mile, which is insane in itself because he was filming that movie during 2001, 2002 and recording this album and recording the 8 Mile album. And they were in the process of signing 50 Cent, which is crazy as hell at that time. And also 2002, 50 Cent, Power of a Dollar came out. Guess Who's Back, I think, came out that year.
Yep.
Yeah, Guess Who's Back came out 2002.
Up in the fire on that blue cover. Can never forget.
Crazy. He's decided at that point he was going to take the reins on doing most of the production. Dr. Dre only gets 3 songs that he produced on this album. But you actually kind of started to see him like kind of be more minimal on his albums as well, because Marshall Mathers LP, Eminem did a majority of that production as well. I think they split it down the middle 50-50, and them and FBT. I forgot who FBT was. I feel like it's like a producer group. FBT. Let me look. I forgot.
Sorry, after doing Eminem records, like, it's good. We good.
They never have to work a fucking again. But Eminem was motivated mostly by rock for the Eminem Show, and he gave the production a classic rock feel, notably sampling Aerosmith on "Sing for the Moment." He interpolated Queen's "We Will Rock You" on "Till I Collapse." And I think, honestly, listening to this back, Eminem Show sounds more like a stadium record than Marshall Mathers LP did and Slim Shady LP did. It had a bunch of albums or a bunch of songs that felt like he could fill an arena with doing those songs. And you could definitely hear it in a lot of especially like the opening 4 or 5 songs. Square Dance, all of those songs were all popular at his tours.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. This album was like very much his big album. I like to compare, like, if we think about present day standards, this is like his Damn. If you think about Kendrick.
Yeah.
And it felt big. It felt stadium. It felt like, okay, this is the album I make when I'm ready to go on tour.
Yeah, for sure. And again, the album, like I said earlier, took parts of his own life and put it on display. He wanted to talk about his role negatively and positively in hip hop culture. He wanted to talk about American politics, the war on terror, 9/11, and he wanted to kind of tone down the shock factor that he had in his first 2 albums and bring in, he basically wanted to prove critics wrong and who people who said like he only focuses on cussing, saying the F-bomb and talking about women to sell records. And he was like, you know what? I want to do an album where I don't do that at all. And for the most part, he succeeds from most of the songs. Something interesting about the Eminem Show. Yeah, I mean, he said, well, fuck that. Well, I'm going to talk about my mom this time. Fuck him. I'll just talk about my mom. This album, in the same way that Marshall Mathers LP was a banner record for album piracy and online music piracy, this was as well. This album leaked early. It was originally supposed to come out on June the 4th, 2002. A group named RNS ripped the album 25 days prior to the album coming out. I remember having this album before fucking Memorial Day. And we went on the field trip to DC. I was in middle school. We went to the field trip and they actually had the albums on shelves that Friday. And I was like, this is not supposed to be out until it was supposed to come out like Sunday or something like that. And it ended up coming out Friday. And just long story short, nobody knows when this album is supposed to come out because it came out at a different time for everybody. And even with that, the album still sold 1.3 million copies in its first week, 809K in its third week, 530K in its second week, or in the week after that, and it was certified diamond a little bit under 10 years after that. So in 2011, it was certified diamond after that. Still one of his biggest albums of all time. Still one of the biggest selling weeks that he's ever had, and it was like largely pirated. That just shows you the power of, again, white trash people, of course, who bootlegged it, but then they still want to go buy it. But also the fact that like this was a big fucking moment. I don't think we've seen a bigger moment in hip hop ever. I remember the commercial was, and it used to come on Rap City, because America couldn't wait. Eminem Show out in stores right now. They had covered up the June 4th thing on the commercial, and they said available now. Like go get this album right now. It was one of the coolest things that have been to have been alive for, because they don't do commercials for albums anymore, and that was like a big deal at the time.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. There's no more album commercials. I haven't seen an album commercial in 25 years.
Because remember, it would be like Funk Flex, or it would be K Slade doing the narration.
Yeah.
I remember Cameron's Come Home With Me album commercial had K Slade doing the commercial narration. He talked about all the songs and all that stuff. Like, they don't do that anymore. And I think that's like a huge missed opportunity, because how else do you know albums are coming out anymore? How does the average person know when Taylor Swift fans know, like Drake fans know, Kendrick fans know. What? Oh, Instagram?
Yeah. It's like our culture, or the culture of listening to music doesn't even lend itself to that moment anymore. Like, right. Streaming is just different consumption wise, and Instagram and social media is just more prevalent. So like, that's where you stay up to date with news. But yeah, album commercials is a lost art form. Yeah.
And the commercials will be telling you got to go get it at FYE or Tower Records or whatever it was. There is no Tower's done, FYE's done.
Yeah.
What are our CD spots anymore? I don't even think we have too many CD spots anymore, outside of those that are probably like selling vinyls. You have your Urban Outfitters, but I don't know if you're getting CDs.
There's not really a lot of CDs printed nowadays. Yeah. There's probably more vinyl than CDs printed.
I went to where did I go? I went to Target the other day, and
they got their vinyl section. They got a vinyl section.
They had CDs. They had Camille Cabello shit was out over there.
They did. See XOXO on CD.
Yeah, they had.
But then where are you playing it though? That's where I'm. Does my car have a CD thing? I don't even know if my car has a CD thing.
Mine doesn't.
I ain't seen a CD player in a long time.
Car CD players used to be so whack though, because they would break. Like if it got too hot outside, like your CD would literally start to skip.
Start melting.
Like that. I remember like my brother, he had like an old Honda or some shit, but then it had like a 6 CD changer.
Oh shit!
I used to love that. I used to love putting into that shit. That was like the original iPod. Like, nigga, I got 6 CDs under this seat. Nigga, I can listen to whatever I want right now.
How ill was it when did everybody have a friend that had the pop out radio that they would take the radio out?
Yeah, you just hold it. You take that shit and be holding it when you go wherever you go. Put it in your pocket.
Like that shit used to be, or they had the what was it, like the little screen? It would pop the screen off the CD player so no one could steal it. That was what a moment. No one does that aesthetic no more. We got the car play. That's what we got. Eminem Show. Let's get into the album. Album starts with the skit. Curtains open. He would do this curtain play on thing for the next 2 albums. I think encores after this.
Yep.
He does the curtain thing.
Yeah, Music to Be Murdered too had the same curtain shit too.
Yeah, curtains. Like I'm glad we're not talking about Encore, because the fake album thing back in the day, no one will ever believe me or believe anyone if he said that there were a contingent of fans that thought Eminem put out a fake album and that he was going to release a real one in 3 weeks after he released Encore. No one would ever believe that.
If you want to talk RNS's biggest moment online, shout out to the internet legends that have held us down for the past couple of years, but their biggest moment when Encore leaks and people thought that RNS got duped and people had to come out like, oh, no, by the way, this is from the factory. And people had to come with the fact that was happening. Man, what a time that in 2004 was.
One of the worst albums I've ever heard in my life. But we're talking about Eminem. We're talking about Eminem Show here. First track on here, White America. This is Eminem's. This is Eminem kind of first song out saying like reckoning with what he created, and I think this is one of my favorite Eminem songs because he says right in the beginning, I never would have dreamed that in a million years I see so many motherfucking people who feel like me, who share the same views and the same exact beliefs. It's like a fucking army marching in back of me. Obviously, like referencing like the Slim Shady, like the real Slim Shady shit at the VMAs 2 years earlier, all that stuff. But a lot of the song is him talking about like, he literally says in the song, if I was black, I would have sold half. Like I would have sold this many records. And that was a level of candidness that even in his interviews leading up to this album, they were like, well, why'd you say that? And Eminem was literally telling Kurt Loder, because it's true, because I would have. And, you know, there was, again, like a contingent of people like Benzino who'd say, he's the hip hop Elvis. He is not helping us out at all. And as Eminem, this is a couple months before Benzino actually took aim at him basically saying like, yeah, I am that. I'm taking responsibility for that, but it's not what I intended to do when I got famous. I wanted to just be a rapper. Like, this is my life now. And he's reckoning with that on this song. That's why I really love this song.
Yeah, no, it was one of those songs where it's like, he's just very self-aware.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that he kind of got knocked for early in his career. So when he showed that on this album, it was like, oh, okay, like you know why you're here. You know what it is. And he, you know, I feel like he absolutely carried that responsibility in a responsible way. Mm-hmm. I think when you look at putting D12 on and staying loyal to Dr. Dre and just like never, you know, nowadays you see a white rapper have a moment and then they just kind of blast off past their white people who ushered them in, you know, or the black people who ushered them in. So to see him kind of stay true to like their hip hop roots and just like what he was doing there, it's commendable. So White America is definitely a great way to start the album though.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he says on the second verse, when I was underground, no one gave a fuck I was white. No labels wanted to sign me. I almost gave up. I was like, hey, fuck it. Till I met Dre, the only one to look past, gave me a chance and I lit a fire up under his ass. Really cool. Like, again, shouting out Dre. He says later on in the verse, every black fan that I got was probably his in exchange for every white fan that he's got. Like, damn, we just swapped. Like, that shit it's the truth. Like, it showed, because again, Dr. Dre was big to us.
Yeah.
But with Eminem, Dr. Dre became Dr. Dre. Yeah, he became Peace because again, it was using that cachet because it wasn't just Eminem, it was Dre's beats that catapulted Eminem to where he was. It was like, this is the guy who made The Chronic. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the guy who made 2001. Like, Eminem was next to him, but also he was next to Eminem to those trailer parks, those trailer park kids. And again, they went back and they looked at it, and I think that it's something that I think a lot of black fans in hip hop look at as a negative. I don't largely look at this as a negative for Eminem. I think I look at more with Eminem, the glazing as more crazy than that, because it's like Eminem is absolutely worth and allowed to be in people's top 5s, top 10s, but I don't think it's crazy if he's not, because a lot of what happens on this album, and including this song, is not an experience that we share. So it could be hard for it, and to Josh's point earlier, for us to connect with what he's talking about a lot of times on this album, because that's not our experience. And we're going to run headfirst into that in this first half of this album.
Yeah, I feel like the experience probably favors Eminem just a little bit more. I wouldn't necessarily say that Dr. Dre's white fans majorly came from Eminem. It probably is a good percentage, but white people loved NWA. That's what CB4 is about. Mm-hmm. So I could take a look at both of those and be like, well, if I were to take a look and see what the advantage, who ended up being more advantageous, I could probably see it would be Eminem being into a much more different crowd than would it be Dre coming into like a mainstream pop area. Because he was trying to get that in like those late 90s. Obviously, Blackstreet was an R&B section that he was in, and the other ventures that he tried to jump into before he ended up finding Eminem. But you know, I think it ends up playing out both ways.
Yeah, I mean, Eminem says here, he says, surely hip hop was never a problem in Harlem, only in Boston after it bothered the fathers and daughters starting to blossom. Like he talks about, again, it's a double standard. It's like, you know, I'm okay here, but because I've opened up the door in Boston and shit like that, it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? And White America, it kicks it off here. One of my favorite songs from him, leading into another one of my favorite, like Eminem Show starts off with two of my favorite songs from him, bro. Song number 3, Business. Of course, using the Batman and Robin motif here to a certain extent. What did you feel like when you saw Dr. Dre kind of doing the cosplaying and doing all the silly shit with Eminem, Josh? Like that, because he's come up and you've seen him in so much different like environments. Like him cosplaying as that is kind of crazy.
Get your money, black man. That's my thing. It's like, I think I love Eminem and Dr. Dre's relationship because it's like, is really the quintessential producer and the rapper.
Right.
But also I think it opened Dre up to be a little, not playful is the word I'm going to use, but I think just light is kind of what I'm really thinking. Mm-hmm. Like when you think about Dre, it was like NWA, then it was like Chronic, Death Row. Then after Chronic, Death Row, it was like The Firm and Nas, and like this was his time to like have fun with this shit. Like you hadn't really got a have fun Dr. Dre, and you got that when Eminem came into the picture.
And this beat, this song is fun. One of my favorite choruses from him as well. Let's get down to business. I don't got the time to play around. What is this? Like that's a hard ass, like chorus just in general. But it's Eminem for fucking 3 verses going fucking crazy. Like he talks about Chandra Levy, which was a big thing at the time because she disappeared.
He was heavy on the pop culture. He talked about everything that was going on in the news.
Yeah, like it was again like a lot of the things he did was like a time capsule, like I said earlier, especially on business. Like, what'd you feel about this song, Mark? Like, how'd you feel about this? This is my favorite songs on the album. Like, I couldn't wait to get to this song when I played it back.
You know, I did not have that same feeling. I always assumed, looking back at Eminem Show, that. And it's crazy. I did not remember this. I always thought Without Me would be one of the records that would be like in that higher top 3, top 4 section. You don't hear Without Me until like the middle section of the album. So to hear Business, I was like, yeah, I remember Business, but not like vividly to the point that I was like, this is what's coming after White America and right before one of his other biggest songs in his entire catalog after that.
Yeah, for sure. And This was they released this as a single. I remember it's playing on radio. It didn't have a video, did it? I kind of remember it having a video.
I don't remember.
My buddy.
Let me see.
I feel like this had a video.
Great fucking hook.
Great hook. I love the hook for this. I love the integration of Dre. The hell yeah, using that in there. Like the beat itself, the sampling Batman, all of that stuff is really dope.
I hate when they do this. It'll say Eminem business music video, and it's clearly Eminem and Dr. Dre bouncing around in Without Me. So it's a fan-made video that probably got made and uploaded to fucking E-Bombs World in 2002, and this is what exists as the music video.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember a video for this.
It should have had one. God damn it! This next song definitely had a video. One of the biggest songs from the album, "Cleaning Out My Closet." I think this is the moment that a lot of black fans jumped off the fucking train on this one, dog. Yeah. This is when they said because here's the thing, like even if you don't like your mama, you ain't saying some of the shit you're saying here. But this is near 7 minutes, I think, of Eminem talking about his mom. If there is any type of documentary of like what happened here, it's Cleaning Out My Closet. He ends up getting sued for this song, by the way, by his mother. And I think he settles out of court. I think she loses. I think something happened with this, but Cleaning Out My Closet, Josh, where were you? Where are you, rather, on this song 20 years later?
You know, it's fun. I like another great hook. Great concept. Very reminiscent of Stan, but just talking about his mom. It's funny, you listen to this album, like, man, like, I'm not mad at the kids not doing 3-verse songs anymore. Like, every song on this shit got 3 or more verses, it feels like. And it's like, bro, that shit's exhausting. Like, I remember, I think it was cleaning out my closet. Like, after the second hook, I'm like, it's another one coming? Like, it's fire. It's cool. Technically great. Like, they're good verses. I don't know what's the best of the 3, but 3 is just overkill. 3 verses, we ain't got to do that.
I mean, we got introduced to one of the bigger themes of the album of Cleaning Out My Closet. The fact that Kim was found with another man and then was like, shit, I'm about to kill both of these niggas. I was like, this is a pretty, I gotta say, this is one of the more darker singles that dominated TRL. Like, there's a lot that's said on here.
Yeah, I mean, it talks about Munchausen syndrome. I think everyone was Googling or Ask Jeevesing Munchausen.
Munchausen. Did he really have that? I mean, not. Or did his mom really put him through that?
She claims that she did not. Eminem says that she did. I'll say this. I'm not one to think of Eminem as a liar per se, but I'm pretty sure that like he might embellish a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was more. It felt like embellishing to me.
Like he says on the third verse, he says he would never diss his own mama just to get recognition. And I'm like, bro, this is 2 other verses right up there that you like literally. You've been doing this for a while, but she's in the crosshairs. He says some pretty sick shit. It's just like, because at the time, remember his mom had made a mixtape with a bunch of his ops from back in Detroit.
I do remember all that.
And she had like sold this whole. She had a video for it and all this stuff. Like, it got really bad between them two.
I mean, it was a bad time because I think this is around the Benzino time when is this when the tape with him saying nigga?
After.
Oh, okay.
It was the because the beef stuff was around the fall of this period. And Wanksta had come out around late summer-ish, I think. And then the tape came out because he rushes. Doesn't he make, or was the tape before? Because he goes quiet for a while after the tape comes out. Hold on. Benzino, Source, Eminem tape. Because it was like the witch hunting or some shit like that. What year was it?
I'm about to say, it's going to be a tough couple months for Eminem to go quiet because he's got a movie coming out. Green Lantern's putting out tapes of disses, and then the Ja Rule thing starts coming into Eminem's way. So there's a lot that's going to be coming in for Eminem in the next couple months.
Yeah, it was like early 2000s. I honestly don't remember it, and you can still like find it. But Benzino says like a white kid sold him the tape, which is funny. Because Eminem actually doesn't end up addressing it until 2003. He actually puts out a statement, which is like one of the first kind of statements that happens. Because it was called what was it called, like some pride, foolish pride or some shit like that.
Oh, the actual rap that he says nigga in? Yeah, I think it's like something about foolish pride or something like that. And he's talking about he was trying to date a black girl.
And she cheated on him and shit like that. And again, like this stuff is coming up, and he has to deal with it. Because the thing is, no black rapper has to deal with shit like this. You know what I'm saying? At least not to that level. Like, obviously, like if you drop the F-bomb right now, like that's good. You know, you got to come out. You got to speak on that. But like for a white person to say nigga on the track, DJ Khaled never had to deal with that. Nav never had to deal with that when he said nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Nav gave it up quick. That's the one thing. Nav gave it up fast. Khaled still let it sit for a couple of years. He was like, all right, guys, I'm gonna let it sit. Fat Joe doesn't even want to talk about people that talk about him saying he didn't even want to bring up the combo.
He said, "Come with J-Lo, huh?" Good luck trying to get J-Lo to talk about saying nigga.
J-Lo saying nigga, man, what a time. Summer 01. J-Lo saying nigga.
Next, so what are y'all thoughts on the Eminem's beats so far on this album? Because we're got to get to Square Dance, and I'm just remembering on Square Dance, I'm like, oh, I forgot this nigga does a lot of shit like this on this album.
Honestly, it's funny. I didn't mind his production on this project. It fits him. I'm glad he didn't stray too far from like the Death Row or Dr. Dre Aftermath formula, but the production isn't terrible.
There used to be a thing back in the day where it said that you could not get Eminem on your album unless he produced the track. And remember, he just popped up on Jadakiss's album, Kiss of Death, out of nowhere, and it was like, oh, but he's rapping on a fucking Eminem beat. Because the only beats Eminem could rap on is Eminem beats. That's it. He can't rap on no other beats but Eminem beats.
I feel him getting double the check. The one thing I will say is them beats age terribly.
Square Dance, of course, the next song sounds like it's like an accordion or some shit. I'm like, man, let me roll my windows up, nigga. I can't let nobody let me hear me.
You're outside on your re-listen?
I was like, nah, let me roll this fucking window. The niggas can't hear me listening to Square Dance. Square Dance was a big deal in 2002. I don't think people remember this at the time, but we gotta talk about it. Cannabis was the greatest rapper of all time to niggas back in the day. He was what people say about Andre 3000 right now. Cannabis was that. Cannabis was the biggest nigga in the world at that time, and Eminem responds to him on Square Dance. What? Cannabis don't want none with Slim. No. So get off my radar.
Yeah, no, Cannabis kind of jumped out the window with that shit. It's like... So you can't battle a guy who's going to talk about himself.
Yeah, exactly. But it was also, he was going to the racial thing. And I think that what we were starting to see a lot more with rappers that were going to Eminem was that they were poking holes in the race stuff. And Eminem was trying to, as much as he tried to defend it, it didn't really blow up until Benzino put out the N-word tape. And I think at that point, niggas was like, well, it's over for the nigga. I'm like, not so fast. the machine's too big. Jimmy Iovine had that shit out immediately. But Square Dance, interesting song, interesting chorus. Wouldn't you say so, MC?
Yeah, it's, I would say that it's, again, that first half of Eminem Show, the revisit of it is things that I haven't heard in so long because I usually just sit so well with the back half of it. So hearing Square Dance, I was like, damn, he really did slap the shit out of Cannabis on this record. So for you to say like, it was a big on tours and stuff like that, I was like, wow. So that means like this diss record must have been very huge. I'm starting to remember how forums would have taken that, because for a record to get that big, for a diss record to get that big and it's being performed on tours and stuff like that, I would assume Cannabis fans would start squirming and panicking. And you know how rap forums get when it comes to any of these debates.
Mark, how many Cannabis fans do you think there were?
In real life or on forums? Because there were a lot of forum Cannabis fans.
Bro, them niggas is not real. It was about, you could fit them into a small apartment in New York. There wasn't that many Cannabis fans, dog. If there was,
the Cannabis fans would be like the Ras Kass fans.
Dog, LL Cool J said 99% of your fans don't exist. And that nigga's career was over.
Well, actually, second round KO was.
Oh, do you remember that shit where Cannabis said 99% of your fans were high heeled or some shit like that, and everyone was like, "Whoa, it might be over for LL."
The classic was, let me tell you something. You ain't got no class to me, but you ain't got the skills to eat a nigga's ass like me. Everybody was like, all right, bro. Fun's over, man.
Dog, the way he let the beat drop out where he said 99% of your fans don't exist. There has not. I think to this day people forget how crazy that response was. It's up there with like, please get off the TIP in my dick. It's up there in terms of responses. But
it is. I mean, because that's the thing. Eminem's really a battle rapper, so it's like that's just inherently easy to him.
Yeah, it's just crazy. But he also talks about, he says on this song as well, when I say Hussein, you say Shady. Of course, talking about the war on terror that's going on here. He talks about people, and again, it's another album that comes out in the period where we talked about Green Day, American Idiot. Same period of time. These albums come out in within the same year, I think, right? 2003.
Yeah.
Well, Eminem Show was 02, American Idiots 04, but we're pretty much around the same politics. Billy Joe Armstrong was not screaming, "Fuck you, Cheney." But it gets pretty close.
Yeah, it gets real close. But Square Dance is where he's kind of firmly saying, all right, this is what it is. And then we get to the skit, the kiss. Would you shut the fuck up, Gary? This is where Eminem was like, all right, you using the skits too fucking much, bro. This skit long as hell for one. But what are y'all? I texted y'all when I was listening to this, and I was like, it's so funny when the fucking when the soldier drums come up during the skit. I'm like, yo, what is going on? Because the thing is that this skit don't even match to whatever this song was, but the Kiss skit obviously talking about I believe Eminem did get arrested for this, where he had the unloaded gun and he came at Kim with the unloaded gun with her and her I guess her side
estranged lover, her side piece. I think he pistol whipped him. That might have been what got him arrested.
Pistol whip a bouncer, I think. I think it really was a bouncer.
It was a bouncer, yeah. Pistol whip a motherfucking bouncer, sick too. This leads into Soldier, which is Eminem's. He thought he was Pop. I think for a good while, from like 02 to like around 04-ish, he really thought he was Tupac. He thought he was wearing the bandanas. Like Ja Rule even called this out back in the day, or the do-rags. He was like, "You'll never have waves. You'll never know black pain."
That line's probably going over very well in 2024. 03, not so much.
Nah.
24, he might have been all right.
He might have had something there, but back in 03, Eminem's the peak of his powers, it wasn't happening then. But Soldier is Eminem's. It's basically like him talking about the fucking pistol whipping, the Kim shit, explaining where he was going through, and this is where the crux of the album really comes into fruition here. When he talks about a lot of the themes of just pointing the mirror back at himself and saying, "This is me." You know what I'm saying? For better or for worse. First he starts off saying, "Never was a thug, just infatuated with guns. Never was a gangster till I graduated the one. Got the rep of a villain, weapon concealing. Took the image of a thug, kept shit appealing." And I said, when the fuck did you take the image of a thug? He was always like a little white boy that was crying about his baby mama, dog. What are you talking about?
Nah, he definitely kind of had a gangster phase. I don't know if it was a phase or it's just like what he leaned into once he kind of got on, but he definitely tried to play up the part of like, yo, I'm from the hood instead of I'm from the trailer park.
Were you believing him and his thug Tupac persona at this time?
I can't even. I yes and no, because
it only got worse when he got around 50 too. When he got around 50,
that's what I was gonna say. Like that was my point. Like before he got around 50, he was just kind of like Eminem. When he was with D12 and them, it was just like popping pills, and it never was gangster. Until he got around 50 and the beef shit started brewing, and it's like, all right, now he started beefing with niggas. First time ever. I ain't never seen Eminem beef with no niggas until he got around 50. Shit crazy.
Well, I mean, Cannabis, but you know, Cannabis niggas are hanging out with Cannabis. He was over there. He was a weird nigga in the class, in the corner of the class, writing rhymes. Soulja, I'll say one definitely third. I started feeling the third verse fatigue here the most. I'm like, we didn't need a third verse here. I think two would have kept it. Because I think the issue with the album is that I get it. Like there's several points in the album where like, I get it. I understand what you're talking about. You're not telling me any new information other than you just like being a good rapper or like rapping really well. Like and you notice that we haven't talked about any other rapping being bad. This is like top tier rapping.
Great.
Yeah, like it's every song top tier rapping.
Mm-hmm.
I just at a certain point I'm just like, I don't care no more. Just go to the next song, and then we get to, I'm gonna say this, my first skip of the album, Say Goodbye to Hollywood.
What?
Yeah,
I can see that.
Wow. Okay. I mean, Soldier to me, Soldier pretty much, the amount of times that I've ran the 50 Cent version, Soldier just belongs to 50 for me. just off mental memory. But Say Goodbye to Hollywood ends up being pretty good to me.
But be clear, it's because he's talking about Kim again. It's like literally another Kim song. It's literally, I thought I could stick it out with her, and I thought I could do it. Like, and again, we got third verse fatigue here, bro. Like, bro, I don't want. As soon as he says, I don't want to quit, but shit, I feel like this is it. I said, next song, please. And then it leads, but I couldn't, bro. I'm just like, bro, I'm tired. This nigga's a rapping ass nigga, bro.
Yeah, I skipped the next song, Drips. Not for me.
Drip should have been. Oh man, Drip should have been deleted from the album. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
If you get the clean version, Drips is not on the album at all.
Great choice.
The clean version completely omits Drips. In fact, on the clean versions, if it skips over Drips, but it's so bad because you know the songs on this album run into each other. Every song, you hear the end of Drips into into the next song. Yeah, into Without Me, which. I mean, I don't really have much to say about Drips. It's fucking disgusting for him to say like, "Oh, I'm gonna keep the shock value alone, or I'm gonna leave it alone," and then
I'm gonna let Obi do
it, and I'm gonna let Obi do it. Whenever I think of Obi Trice, I think of that joke that A+ said in our chat. Where he said, do they play Got Some Teeth on Detroit radio? And I said, you know what, man?
Nah, a nigga said in 2000, what is that joke? 22. He was like, yo, y'all play Got Some Teeth on the 10 a.m. morning mix, and I was like, plus, come on, man, come the fuck on, man.
You ain't have to do that, bro. Come on, dog.
If I hear, was Got Some Teeth an Eminem beat?
Yes.
Yeah,
it was.
Bro. He was making some Nickelodeon level shit. The drugs had a hold on him, dog. Oh my god!
I forgot Obi said. This is one of the two wildest lines. He said her clothes fell off like Bishop and Juice. I was like, Obi, come on, man. What do we do? What do we do, man? Why that imagery? Why, at a moment like this, why that imagery? But I was like, you know, Say Goodbye to Hollywood, I appreciate it because I think there's some guilt of realizing that his daughter is going to come up reading a lot of really crazy headlines by the time that she gets old enough to be able to see them. And right now, Haley's 28 years old, just got married. She's probably seen, read, experienced everything in 2024. But at the time, it's just like, man, I feel a little bit of guilt. Maybe I did too much. I got to get her away from a lot of this and me from a lot of this. It didn't work because clearly 20 years later, still here, still around with us, obviously. But I appreciated that experience of that sense of fatherhood in ways that you didn't really get on Marshall Mathers LP or Slim Shady LP. Very fatherhood album from Eminem Show that I didn't really experience too much when I was a kid hearing this.
He was barely 30. Like he just turned 30 when Zom came. So I'm like, yo, you're already trying to hang it up, bro.
And Haley's that age now, so it's kind of like, wow, looking at that, it's kind of nuts.
But Without Me, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, man. Probably my least favorite of his fun singles.
Really?
Yeah, probably my least favorite. I put Real Slim Shady as the number one. Actually, no, I would put My Name Is. No, My Name Is classic, bro. My Name is like, you hear My Name Is, you know every single word of that fucking song, bro. Like that song is a classic. Like this one, I'll be like.
But here's the thing.
Well, go ahead.
Here's the thing. I feel like you know every single word to Without Me too. I feel like I had a new appreciation of Without Me just off the fact that I feel like for the past 20 years he's been trying to do Without Me again. He had the Without Me single on Relapse, flopped, didn't work. Recovery, he took it a little more serious. Tried to do it again.
But wait, was it Recovery? Was it Recovery? I'm not afraid.
Yeah. He tried to take it. Yeah, he was like, I'm not gonna do this shit no more. Everybody! But when he tried to do We Made You, I'm like, this is just Without Me again. You bring up Kim Kardashian, you bring up all the celebrities at the time. Didn't work. I think he tried to do that just a couple weeks ago with Houdini. And, you know, it's definitely something that, and there's literal Without Me references in the
that's what I was going to say.
Well.
Yeah.
But I'm like, wow, I didn't really think about that. Without Me wasn't really too much to me in 2002. I was like, wow, great fun single. Eminem's back, dominating TRL. But realizing how many times he's tried to do another Without Me, I'm like, damn, this really does stand a little bit more of a test of time than I gave it credit for.
I think the chorus is dope. I'll give it that. I think that I really only like the diss and Moby part, but you can't really say that whole verse out loud. You got to say it in the confines of wherever you may be, because he drops an F-bomb right there in the middle. In Moby, you can get stomped by Obi. You bald headed.
You don't know me. Too old. Rap.
Let go. It's over. Did Eminem kill Techno for a couple years with this? I think he did.
Techno killed himself.
When did EDM come back? Like 09?
Like 08, 09,
2010? Yeah, that's a solid 6 years.
Eminem said, yo, it's over. What was Moby saying about Eminem? Was he saying he was too vulgar? Like he was doing too much. Like
Moby be saying stupid shit. Let me see.
Because it seemed like such an out the way thing to beef with Moby about. And even in the video, they take like a fucking a fucking rag doll and like slam his ass or some shit.
Yeah.
On Eminem.net. The feud started at last year's Grammys when Moby called Eminem a misogynist, a homophobe, a racist, and an anti-Semite. Eminem responded with a few lines in his recent hit Without Me, addressing him, blah, 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 blah. I think that Eminem is, Moby says he didn't want to take that personally, either following Without Me, saying, I think that Eminem is talented and interesting, but I'm kind of stunned at the anger that he has from me seeing as I've never met him up until the VMAs. I mean,
crazy part is he called him all the things that he was doing.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that's crazy about Eminem. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I guess that's kind of why I look at it with a tinted kind of lens now, too, because it's like, the shit is just, all the music was just, it was homophobic, it was racist. All the bad things that are so PC now, or we're such in a PC culture now, it's like, I can't even appreciate this shit.
Yeah, would you say it's PC, or you think that we're
enlightened,
kind of numb to it? Like, yeah, like we're enlightened, but it's like, because he's actually on the new song talking about like, I could never make this song today, and it's just like, well, yeah, like we're not to your point, like we're not in that attitude era no more. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not where society is right now. There was a place for it,
I think he could make the song today, but we don't care.
Yeah, like
we don't want to hear that shit.
We see it all the time. We hear it all the time. Like there's places you can go to listen to that type of shit. And I that's the weirdest part about Houdini to me, other than the video. What was that? Like, I'm like, well, I mean, didn't you yourself want to evolve from that? Like, it's not about could you make that record? Like, I'm literally listening to an album where you tried for like 20 songs or 19 songs to not do any of that stuff, but like any of that racist, homophobic, shock value stuff. And you're like, well, I want to go back to it at 51. And I'm just like, oh well, you're 51, bro. Like, there's not, like, no one's gonna connect with that shit anymore. So it is like Houdini to me. I could get on a soapbox for hours and talk about why that song is like ill-advised. I haven't heard Toby yet, but it was just interesting that he would say that. We get a Paul Rosenberg skit. I like the Paul Rosenberg skits. Those are always pretty funny to me because they always sound like there's something he would actually say. And then we get Sing for the Moment, which samples Aerosmith. This is like the stadium song.
Yeah, huge.
This is the stadium song. Again, it's like it's kind of like his. He would probably be mad if I said this. Like, this is like his Everlast song. He's talking about like, storytelling about kids who are like misunderstood and all this other stuff. I'm like, this is your like. Again, you said you were right, Josh. Your damn moment. This is like, oh no, I need to get in commercials because this is a song that's been in commercials. It's been in games, all of this shit. Like this was the song where it was like you could hear it in a soccer commercial or some shit like that. Like this was his car commercial single. And I actually do like this song a lot. Like after like a string of maybe like a couple skips on this album, I stuck with this and I was like, it was dope. It was dope that he even got like Steven Tyler. I think Steven Tyler actually came in and like redid vocals on that. I think I heard. So like it was cool that he got Aerosmith to come in, or they got their permission to sample them on this song. I fuck with it.
Yeah, and especially off the fact that he's not only illustrating the kids that are actually in his words specifically. As he's talking about hip hop and rappers and their positions in culture, he's like, listen, y'all might not fuck with a lot of this, but there's a kid in fucking Nebraska or somewhere that I'm talking to. I don't care if you're listening because he's listening. That's who I'm directing this material at. So they might have the Aerosmith parents, but this is their generation of who they're listening to at the time, and being able to blend those two worlds together. Obviously, it's something that comes from just the origins of rap. You have your Run DMCs and your Aerosmiths just in general, but it's a lot different from that generation at that time who was listening to hip hop. And he was fighting. Who was the nigga that he said that was a fist that hit him? Who was a fist?
Wasn't it the security guard?
That was Guerrero. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the security guard.
That was the security guard.
The security guard just was like, all right, chill out, bro. Like, you're wildin'. Like,
anybody.
You was wildin'. Like, what are you talking about? I remember that when I heard, I was like, oh, that was the security guard that he fucked up. I think the security guard got a lot of money for a nigga too.
He probably did, but from rap wise, I just appreciated those three verses. Those were very, very hip hop centric. Probably one of some of his best verses, period. And that's also before literally my favorite Eminem song after this.
Huh.
Superman?
I love Superman. Superman, I can wrap my eyes closed.
Superman is the most woman hating song in the world.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like Eminem is like incel rap.
This is definitely an incel-ass song.
It's a record.
Sure. This song is like did not age well. I
stressed out, man. You lose Mariah Carey, wouldn't you be stressed?
He didn't lose no goddamn Mariah Carey, man.
He did. That's what he said.
He lose no. She might have like.
Probably never had her.
Yeah, she probably let him nibble on her earlobe or some shit like that. But he never
a little night out.
Yeah, he held her hand. He fucking on Mariah Carey, man. I think the best thing about the legacy of this is this song being interpolated for like that Drake song, Chicago Freestyle, like years later, and people being like, "Oh shit, that random album cut from an Eminem record a long time ago got reused." But I mean, come on, man. Am I too nice? Buy you ice, bitch. If you died, I wouldn't buy you life. Like, it's crazy. That's like some Sugar Free level shit.
Yeah, the funny thing about this song is that like it's so. The content of it is so left and so wrong and bad, but it just stands the test of time. It's like a good record. It's a good concept. It's a good hook. Yeah, I can see why this is one of your favorite records off the project. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely one of the best in his catalog.
Who was the porn star that was in the video again? Gina Lynn.
Yeah, Gina Lynn. Yeah.
If you've never seen the uncensored video, just go ahead and YouTube it. You'll see some treats there.
What?
Say, you've never seen the uncensored
video?
video?
I remember the uncensored video. It should come on.
Uncut.
Yeah.
They played Superman. They should play Superman on Uncut. Well, I thought it would be too white for Uncut.
It was like early Uncut. It was once they started getting like the underground niggas, they stopped playing that shit altogether.
Once they started playing No Panties On, they stopped playing Superman.
So Mark out here saying put Anthrax on the 10 packs. All right.
2002 bars. Right. Who doesn't have those bars in 02?
Listen, man, I'm gonna be real with you, man. I'm gonna be real. Haley song, it's fucking terrible.
I skipped this.
You skip Haley song?
Haley song is garbage, dog.
And I was like, damn, I got custody of my daughter and I feel great and life feels better now. Y'all skip that?
Shit was whack.
Yeah.
Again, we're talking about Kim. Again,
I'm so glad that my mom didn't abort her and they had to flip it. They had to reverse it.
Bro, this is what I'm facing. 3 felonies, 6 years of probation. I'm with the jail for this woman. I've been in bat for this woman. I'm taking bats to people's back, been over backwards for this woman. Like,
what I stick my penis up in?
Like, calm down. Like, this is the biggest simp anthem I've ever heard in my life, bro.
Simp anthem?
Yes, bro.
Music. It's incel music, man.
Bro.
I stand by that. Like, that's the type of music he made. It's the kind of music he makes currently. And like when you think about even that VMA moment with all the fucking Slim Shades behind him, like some incel shit. Groupthink. We all look and think alike, and we on this. Like, nah, I'm good.
Like, I'm glad he got his daughter, but it's like, come on, Mark. There's no way you're listening to Now That the World Is a Nerd on My Shoulder. That shit is whack. This is
Toe Tapper.
I argue to say that the back half of this album was a struggle to get through. Because I was like,
it's a lot of skips. I don't get back into this album until say what you said.
Yeah, like literally the next song. Not even. We gotta sit through a fucking D12.
Yeah, the D12 song I'll skip automatically.
Sing from the Moment to Superman to Haley song, I think is an incredible stretch of this, and pretty much summarizes this entire album.
Nah.
What? The last 4 songs to me encapsulate this album are fucking hell. They're great.
Yeah, Say What You Say was a record that going into Till I Collapse. Till I Collapse is the one off this project. That's my favorite song on this album.
Sure, it could be, yeah, definitely.
And then My Dad's Going Crazy. That's like that's another like great fucking concept for a record, and like executed amazingly. Like, what? I don't want to skip ahead, but like that's probably the second or third best song on this album.
Yeah. I mean, the middle stretch, I would say, like, it's a chore, bro. It's skit on top of skit. Mm-hmm. It's Haley's song on top of that. It's fucking Superman on top of that. I think, you know what? I think women like Superman, no, Josh. I will say that. I remember back in the day.
Good. Superman's a good song.
Record.
I don't know, man. That Haley song, I'm looking at you funny for that one, Mark. We're going to completely skip. We're skipping when the music stops. I'm sorry. I'm going to put my foot down on that one because I didn't get through 2 verses of that. So I don't got nothing to say about it.
You didn't get to Bizarre's record?
The fact that my biggest issue with Eminem is that he let Bizarre get a rap check. Like, that's my biggest issue with this nigga is that he let Bizarre get a rap check. That nigga is awful. Okay.
Bizarre's verse is literal shock jock, just trying to get through the entire verse. I'm just like, Bizarre, please stop, bro, please.
Yeah, it's like Howard Stern rap.
It's definitely a Howard Stern verse.
That's the thing about D12 and just Eminem too. Like Howard Stern, WWF, like it just was like the era that I was just like, man, like give it a rest. We get it, bro. You trying to be funny. You like to say crass words and like you on some bullshit. Like it just was like, I don't know if I was getting old or what, but I just wasn't appealing to that shit.
Shout out to Mr. Porter though, Denon Porter. He actually had a run as a producer for a while. I don't think
crazy producer, one of the best.
I don't think he does anything else now, which is kind of sad. I thought he was really talented though. Like he was really he gave 50 some dope shit, I believe, on Massacre.
I was gonna say he did a lot of Massacre. Him and High Tech.
Yeah, like
my favorite beats on Massacre.
Till I Collapse, the 18th song. At this point, I'm not gonna lie. I love it.
We didn't do Say What You Say.
Oh shit, that was before that. I'm sorry. Say What You Say. We're gonna have to do a little bit of like history lesson on the beefs in this song because there were a lot of different problems on this. So let's just start with the Jermaine Dupri part of this because I think we tried to pinpoint that on Black Print. So like Jermaine Dupri had said something about he was the best, he was one of the best producers out, and he said, I'm better than Dre, I'm better than Timbaland, all these people. And Timbaland and Dre, they bristled at this. They were like, what the fuck? What's this nigga talking about? And then they were all upset about it. So this was basically like everyone airing their grievances on this one song. Cannabis gets another one, volley given to him. And then the Source magazine gets some strays as well, which then prompts Benzino, who had been the kind of the invisible benefactor behind the magazine at that time, to finally come from behind the shadow. The Wizard of Oz comes from behind the shadows and says, I've actually been bankrolling this all this time. And you get this verse. And I mean, Eminem and Dr. Dre in that first verse, like Jada and Kiss, bruh. Like, or Jada and Styles, they going back and forth on that shit. That's just hard.
Yeah. No, that's it's funny, man. Like I have a newfound appreciation for Dr. Dre raps. Like after seeing him come out at the Kendrick show to pop out, like his raps are still, I mean, even though he don't write them, they're elite. And his like breath control and the way he raps on the beat, like it's bar none some of the best rapping. And when I heard this verse going back to his album, I was like, damn, like Dre really did get off. Like,
yeah. And
yes, all over JD's head top.
Yeah, like, bro. Over 80 million records sold, and I didn't have to do it with 10 or 11-year-olds is like,
man.
I was like, Chris Cross ain't need that, bro. Come on, man.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, man. Like it's like at the time that was hard. You know what I'm saying? Like Chris Cross was hard. Like, come on, you got to give him some credit for that. He talks about from a Dixie cup, you could never mix me up or confuse me with a cannabis or Dre with a Dupree. Like, come on, man. He was just going nuts on this nigga, bro.
This shit was just funny to me because it's like, it was a beef I kind of forgot about. So when I went back and listened to it, I'm like, oh yeah, they did have this beef. And I can't remember JD if he ever had a response.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
What could he have responded on? Welcome to Atlanta remix?
Who could he have responded with? Like, there was nobody that he could have like
ROC?
There was no one he could have responded with. Like, and then of course the Source Stray, 5 Max in the Source. I ain't holding my fucking breath, which is kind of crazy. Marshall Mathers LP got 2 mics in the Source. I forgot about that.
Damn.
It got 2 mics in the Source. It was the one outlet that did not give Marshall Mathers LP a positive review, or one of the few outlets. I'm sorry, there were some outlets to give it negative reviews. It was one of the few that, like, hip hop outlets that did not give it like a rave review. It was one of the best reviewed albums of that year, and the Source gave it 2 mics, which is, to say the least. Eminem was basically trying to call out Kim Osorio and everybody there as in terms of just doing payola. And then he was basically saying back in the day, I'm not going to do payola. I'm not going to pay you guys for a good review like everyone else is doing out there. And that blew up the whole rap journalism thing at that time when they exposed the payola scheme, which I was like, oh, everybody's doing payola at this time, yo. It was a big deal at the time.
Yeah. No, publications beef. This is the beginning of rappers beefing with publications.
Yes.
And now it's like, everybody beats with the publication. Pitchfork, everybody getting it. XXL still getting it. So
bloggers.
Huh?
Bloggers at this point,
yes, bloggers are getting it. Academics, like.
Shy Glizzy kicked off the blogger sentiment, the anti-blogger sentiment, bro. I know every DJ but that nigga Academics.
Academics, yeah.
He kicked this whole thing off.
I remember that.
He started the trend, bro.
Nah, I feel like somebody did SK before that. Not right.
Oh, somebody did this SK.
Oh, Tyler.
Tyler did SK. Oh yeah, it was two dope boys. Tyler did two dope boys at the time. Yeah, I saw a funny tweet about Tyler's old music when they were like, somebody was like, Goblin was so underrated, and then somebody like has like a video underneath where a guy saying, "Oh well, I'm gonna rape you," and then I'm gonna tell this shit. It's just like Goblin is actually
Eminem. Yeah. That's why it's like that's the thing. It's like even with Tyler, it's like I can't go back and listen to that old shit. Like
do you not play any Bastard or Goblin?
Bro, it's albums I was there for the making of, and I'm like, I can't go back and listen to it. Like I can't. It's crazy.
I think that's why he starts his like discography off on shows it with like Cherry Bomb.
I like Cherry Bomb. Yeah, everything happened before 2015.
Well, it's also just like a lot of that music just isn't an evolved version of him. Like, just the music he makes now, beat production wise, like that's just not. He did recently do
Yonkers.
Yonkers, yeah. What show did he do Yonkers at? One of them shows recently.
Was it Coachella? Was it Coachella?
He Coachella. Yeah, Coachella. Yeah.
And he did a song off the first Odd Future tape.
Oh yeah, he did. He did. I think the song he did has Casey Veggies on it too.
Yeah, it was one of those. And I was like, wow, he actually does go back to the. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Our Toddlers.
Yeah.
So he does do come from time to time. He's not going to do the records that's talking about the thought of raping you turns me on. I was about to say, you can just leave that one alone.
But that's the thing. It's like, it's funny that Tyler gets a lot of that flack, but Eminem doesn't.
You don't think he gets enough flack for it?
What do you mean? Yeah. Tyler gets a lot of flack. Eminem got a lot of flack for that shock value shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't pay attention, so I don't know.
Yes. Okay. To this day, he does. And literally, Mark brought it up.
It's like it's funny that despite all that flack, he's still the biggest
artist that's out right now. I mean, I would hope that he doesn't do that at age 51. But yeah, there's kids born in 06, 07 hearing "Kill You" for the first time, and people are asking like, "Why are we listening to Eminem again? Why was this so popular?"
I mean, he did come back and he's throwing shots at Megan Thee Stallion and saying little funny shit. It's just like
about the feet. That's so stupid.
Yeah.
But the thing is, she ignoring him. She ain't making no tweets about him.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
There's no point.
He's basically like Kramer at this point. They're not looking at him like he's Larry David at this point. They're not looking at him like he's
Kramer of him. You're right.
Till I Collapse, next song on here.
Love this song. Football song. I remember listening to this going to football practice.
Best song on the album, undisputedly. I think that it is again one of Eminem. I think is the best Eminem produced song that he's ever done. Interpolates Queen's "We Will Rock You." I think again it's a stadium song. He wanted stadium records. This was it. Features the late great Nate Dogg on here. One of Nate's best hooks ever.
Yep.
Nate Dogg and Eminem got some classics, man.
Yeah.
Take That is a classic. Till I Collapse is a classic.
Bitch Please Sue's a classic. Bitch Please Sue's a classic too.
Yeah. What did y'all feel about Eminem's top rappers when he says, "I got a list. Here's the order of a list that it's in. It goes Reggie, Jay-Z, Tupac and Biggie, Andre from Outkast, Jada Corrupt, Nas, and then me."
I always find it funny when people put Redman in their top 5.
I'm like, who you fooling?
Why?
That's like such a hip hop thing to do.
Yeah, he's a rapper's rapper.
He's never even sniffed my top 5. He's not even the best in the groups he's been in.
You think Meth cleared him? Plenty of the
Meth
time.
cleared him.
Yes.
I think fucking what's my boy from the other group? Death Squad.
Eric Sermon?
No, not Eric Sermon. He's
Keith Murray. Keith Murray did have moments. Keith Murray
kind of clears Redman to me personally.
Okay.
I'll say two things about this. This started the Andre from Outkast convo, I think.
It did.
Bigly.
Sure did. Yeah.
This started the Andre from Outkast because no one was saying it. And I think I said this on Speakerbox Love Below episode. Nobody was saying it until this nigga said it on this song.
I hear you, but I also feel like the South always was trying to champion him. It was like when the South was like best rappers alive, there was always like Scarface and Andre. Like that was always a kind of go-to.
Would it be just Andre, or would it be both Andre and Big Boy until the separation started with
I always heard, and it's funny that I hate to separate them, but it was always like Andre was the name. Andre Scarface. If you ask somebody from Atlanta or anyone from the South, period, you'd be like, yo, like niggas in New Orleans, who y'all favorite rapper? I love that Andre. Like, because you got to think about it. Andre was like the backpack Southern nigga. Yeah. You got to think about how many Southern backpackers there are. Like, one of the biggest in the game is one of those. J. Cole. Like,
yeah.
You know Andre was his favorite rapper in high school.
Listen to the Love Below. I guess he had a lot of fucking, I don't know.
I mean, I will say I think the list held up very well. Obviously, we talked about Redman's position on it. Ends up being his number one. It's not our number one, but you can see from a hip hop perspective how it could end up being that. Jay, Pac, Big, I think is on just about everybody's.
Nas is really low.
Jada, I mean, Jada over Nas is a decent take in 02, especially after that beef. But I mean, Jada's still here in 24.
That's another one, man. Jada, like. They can be putting Jada in their top 5, and I don't understand, bro.
It was a nickname. It was a nickname back then. I mean, it's still a nickname now, but
I forced the issue just because he was like, he was the nigga that in people's top 5 that would beat you up. So I was like, okay, but I don't know if Jada was ever top 5.
What about Corrupt's position? How do you feel about Corrupt's position?
Well, here's my thing. I love Corrupt. I think he is, like, as far as skilled rappers, he's up there.
Right.
If we're going off of skill, he might be a top 10.
Okay.
He might be a top 10. I'm going to give that to him.
Has there ever been a moment that you were just like, Daz is catching him a lot? Because they just dropped the album a couple weeks ago.
Fuck no, never. Corrupt always was better than Daz. It's like Prodigy and Havoc. Like, you always knew Prodigy was better. I mean, my hot take, I tweeted this a couple weeks ago, a couple weeks ago. Maybe sometime last year. I think I put on my Instagram story. I think Dog Pound's better than Mobb Deep.
Okay.
Did they kill you for that? Did they ratio you for that?
Oh my God, they was killing me.
Really?
Oh my God, all the little hip hop purists.
What's wrong with that take?
They were killing me.
Did the West Coast at least hold you down in the tweets?
No, there's some niggas from the West Coast that was like, "What you talking about?"
That's
really
crazy. Because the thing that's always been an issue with me is that New York opinion is always so popular that it stops being regional, it starts being worldwide because it's just such a huge city where it's like it's just widely accepted. But I would think that like I wouldn't even like bat an eye at you saying that because of where you come from. I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. Like I wouldn't even be mad at that. But it was like, you know, your experience, you probably listen to a lot more Dog Pound than you listen to Mobb Deep. That's just my assumption.
Well, and I think one of the not excuses, but one of the reasons people had was that like Mobb Deep just had more records, more albums that were better than Dog Pound, which I agree with. Mm-hmm. I think Dog Pound has one classic and 2 cool albums.
Yeah.
Where Mobb Deep, you could argue they probably have 2 classics and 2 average albums.
Yeah.
So I get that. But yeah, I don't know. Like I listen to Dog Pound more, and I think Corrupt is a great rapper. I was about to say I think he's a better rapper than Daz. I mean, I was about to say I think he's a better rapper than Prodigy. I don't absolutely believe that because there's some Prodigy solo albums that I love.
Amazing, yes.
But I think as a group, Dog Pound's a little bit.
I'm glad that the way things have went, I'm glad that they're like the way things go now in hip hop beef. I'm glad that in 2002 there was never like any disdain from Jay-Z off Eminem being on Godson and doing the cross, or even still giving him props in this record. Like it could have easily been some type of sneak remark or something like that from Jay regarding that from Eminem.
But to your point though, Mark, Nas is dissing Jay on the 8 Mile soundtrack, and I think Jay is on that same soundtrack dissing Nas. Like they're dissing each other.
That's true too.
I was gonna say there was so much respect between all parties, Jay to Nas, Jay to Eminem and Dr. Dre, back and forth, vice versa. So I think it was always like, hey, this is an own wax. Like that was one beef that you like. Even the Jay, that's why when Jay apologized, it was like, okay, I get it. And then even just I declare war and all that shit, like I get it. Because this is a beef that was very much not a beef.
Yeah.
And it was really about skill and talent rather than like, I don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because and again, like a lot of people that he names on this list end up being on the 8 Mile soundtrack, and he ends up producing the album for Tupac. He ends up doing some stuff for Biggie, all of that stuff. Like he works with a lot. I think the only people he hasn't worked with is like Andre 3000. I think that's the only person he hasn't worked with.
They don't have a record?
No.
Andre and Eminem?
Take
a look.
Not to my remembrance.
I want to say they got like something, like a freestyle or like a remix. I want to say it's a remix with them two on there.
I'm looking.
Is there?
No, I don't. I'm looking. So there's some things that say. Here go this blend shit. Here go this E-Bombs World shit. Eminem and Andre 3000 Chonky Fire. Yeah, right, bro.
What's that?
B.O.B. said I watched Eminem listen to Andre 3000 on my song, and what? What happened? On my song. Yeah, that's it? Oh, I guess not. All right. Well, I haven't heard from B.O.B. in a while, so.
All right.
Okay.
We've gotten here. We've stalled long enough. Last song in the album, My Dad's Gone Crazy, featuring Haley.
I like this song, man.
Very well produced. No fucking way. Dr. Dre produced this.
I know, very like I could tell. You know, it's funny. You could tell because like the way it's engineered, the way Haley voice cuts in and out. It's like Jay was in there. He probably worked on that shit for 40 days and 40 nights. Like, he's such a fucking perfectionist. He probably had her in the booth. Do it again.
No, it's supposed to be Daddy, what are you doing? Not Daddy, what are you doing? Daddy, what are you doing?
Dre probably cracking the whip on her ass.
I'm laughing at studio shit because I'm just thinking about the video that we watched on Thug the other day, and hearing Haley go, "Run it back, come on,
run it back,
run it back,
key that." Haley said, "Key that, bro, key that."
Haley going, "Key that" is killing me.
Key that.
Oh man,
listen,
I hear so much about Dre in the studio. I'm like, I know he made her do that part. He is a crazy perfectionist.
It's cute, all right? It's cute.
Come on, man. Fatherhood. Father's Day album, this album.
Yeah, and I think the Eminem verses were good. You don't like them?
I think that it's very Slim Shady LP-ish. And I think when I listen to it today, I'm just like, this could have fit right on that first album, right in song 13 or whatever the fuck it could have fit into. I think that the chorus is cute. And I think that's one thing that I would say about this album, just in general. All of the choruses are strong as fuck. You don't hear a good chorus like this no more today. The choruses, like Eminem, really, the reason he's been able to last for so long is because he knows how to make a catchy hook. Because even if you don't like the song, I think on every one of these songs on the album, I at least know what the chorus was. Every single one of them, I knew what the chorus was when I listened to this album. And this was another one because I was like, oh, this is My Dad's Gone Crazy. Like, that was literally the chorus. My dad's gone crazy. Like, that is the song. But I mean, come on, man. Eat a motherfucking dick, chewing a prick, and licking motherfucking cocks per second. I'd rather put up a motherfucking gospel record. Like, he's just...
There's no power too high. There's no plane I can't learn to fly. He's getting off on this motherfucker. I was like, yo, this nigga Eminem is out of his mind, bro.
It's him doing Rap Olympics. Like, we know he can rap. You know what I'm saying? I think that it's technically like the best. But I think if this album ended with Till I Collapse, I think it's a great way to go. It's a great way to go out. It's a great way to end. But he just got his daughter. He just got custody of her. This is way. I mean, I know she got royalties off this, so I think she's good. She good for life off of this joint. So, I skip it, but I would get people that don't want to skip it. It's a silly song. At the very least, you got to listen to it for the first time. You got to listen to it the first time all the way through, and then you decide whether you like it or not.
Yeah, it's very much a gimmicky song, so it's not a song I go back to. But when I have to go back and revisit this album a couple of times, I'm like, oh, I don't mind this. It's good closure.
And then we get to the curtains close. Another skit. King Kniff makes his final entrance in there, and then pause. King Kniff we're talking about here. And then we get to the end of the album, and that was the Eminem Show by Eminem. An hour and 25 minutes of it's a heavy album. When you're done with it, you're just kind of like, whew, that was a lot of shit.
I mean, it went by kind of quick for me.
I skipped the skits, so it did go by a little faster than usual. But after listening to the album, I definitely was like, yo, I'm so happy that rappers don't do 3 verses. Like, it made me appreciate that. You know, like, we've been talking about this. We're like, oh, we need to bring back the 3rd verse. Nah, we don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want the 3rd verse. I'm
like,
cool.
you know what, Uzi, you wasn't wildin'. That one verse shit, I fuck with it, bro.
just wanna rock, do some more.
Yeah,
of those?
that one verse shit, yeah.
More of those, bro. I don't need no 3 verse songs, dog. This shit is it's too much.
But it's great. It's a great album. It was my favorite Eminem album. I think I want to go back and listen to Marshall Mathers LP to see if it still stands. I think I want to go back and listen to that because I really like this one because I didn't like Marshall Mathers LP back in the day. Bad, crazy opinion, I know, but I actually preferred this album, and I still like it. I still give it like a 9 out of 10. I still really like it. The skips are what they are, but I think that the good songs overpower it. I think the first half of this album is elite. Like I think the first half of this album is really, really good. Middle half, like I said, is kind of like all right. Like after Without Me is when I start to get sleepy. When I'm like I don't even know no more. But then after that, it's like it's smooth sailings, and I really fuck with it.
I think I want to go back and listen to fucking Slim Shady LP.
That's a good album. That's a good album to revisit. You want to talk about long? That feels way longer than Eminem Show did.
I think it's shorter. I think it's shorter.
That's longer.
Oh, it is?
Oh no, wait, it's shorter.
Well,
right.
Eminem Show maxes out at 80 minutes. Eminem Show finishes
shorter,
the
which
whole
is weird.
What was that?
Oh, it's Eminem Slim Shady LP is 59 minutes.
Yeah, it's short. It's only like 13 songs or something like that. Yeah. Oh no, it's 20 songs.
It's 20 songs. It's 20 songs. You got a couple skits that are in there, but for the most part, it just feels like a longer listen than Eminem Show's maxing out the CD at 80 minutes, which some artists chose to do in the early 2000s. But Slim Shady LP, in my opinion, is a little bit of a longer album that feels like even 20 minutes shorter. It's a little bit different.
Bro, I got to go back to Marshall Mathers LP. 72 minutes. It can't be that. This was almost like superfluous how long it was. Eminem Show is extremely long. Encore is 76 minutes.
Max out the CD.
Who wants to listen to that? Who wants to listen to that next? No?
I actually want to go listen to his first project. Was it Infinite?
Infinite? Yeah. It's on streaming. It's on streaming.
It is. Oh wait, no, it's just a single though.
Is it? I thought they put it all
it should. It should just be the single. I don't think the whole album's on there. It's just like Power of a Dollar.
That sucks.
I'm
pretty sure we can find it if we wanted to really find it. Actually, speaking of which, Mark, I need you to send me FBG the movie. I've been wanting to ask you that for a minute. I know you got that.
Classic. Yeah, I can upload that.
Another classic. But that has been this episode of ThrowBLKs. Thank you guys for listening. We have a new episode of the Black Print coming up for you guys. It's going to be coming after July 4th, so enjoy you guys' holidays. We're going to be talking about all of the stuff that happened after the happening and all the stuff that's been happening in the last 2 weeks. Josh had a trip that he's going to tell us all about.
Yeah, I'll drop a little exclusive photo for y'all. I can see what Hawaii look like.
I haven't seen none of the photos from Hawaii.
I think I posted in the chat, right?
2.
I haven't posted anything just because like I'm on my millennial shit. I'm gonna do like an end of the summer dump. I'm laying low.
I think you got more than 10 photos now, so you should be all right.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't wait to hear about it, and I'm pretty sure our listeners can't wait to hear about it either. Make sure you tune in to our Patreon to get that early. Make sure you tune into the most recent episode of Recut Gems, hilarious episode with myself, A+, and Mark on there. And we'll be right back at you guys very soon with the Black Print. So I don't know what we're gonna do for ThrowBLKs next. I feel like we should go crazier.
We have taken care of our white boy summer agenda, so happy about that, especially with July 4th.
We do a Drake record?
You want to do a Drake record?
Since, it's Drake rule, it's over for the kid. Might as well, eulogize him.
I don't think there's no the album that we would more than likely...
excitement in his face?
Here's the thing about that. The album that we would likely be doing is still on the Billboard chart, so it's not even a eulogy. How you do a eulogy for someone?
Man, I'm joking. Maybe do a Ja Rule project. This is Eminem.
What you want to do, Blood in My Eye?
I don't know. I don't want to do Vini Vici, bruh.
Yeah. What about Rule 336 or something?
What would you do when niggas spit at you?
What could we do? What?
It's either gonna be Rule 336 or Pain is Love. It's only those. I'm not doing RULE. I'm not covering Wonderful with R. Kelly and Ashanti. I'm alright.
Have we done DMX yet?
No, we have not.
No.
You haven't done DMX yet. I would love to.
Not for DMX album.
I'd be down for blood of flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood, or something.
Damn, I'm gonna be
if you do one, you gotta do the other though.
You got to do both, right? Because they both came out in the same 12 months. Yeah, like you got to do two.
If we do Flesh of My Flesh, I'm gonna just be mad depressed in that entire ThrowBLKs.
That's a sad ass album.
Sad, extremely sad album. I'm just like, fuck.
There are no hype songs on Flesh.
Exactly.
Blood of my blood.
Well, unless you want to do it, it's all good, it's all right. Fuck all day, fuck all night.
Well, we'll figure this out. We'll be back with you guys next month on ThrowBLKs. For Josh Pease and MC, I'm J5. Wishing you guys a happy holiday when you listen to this, and more than that. So thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.